Solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on out there? Turn 2 Terrible podcast here, episode 17. This week it's just me and our buddy Chris Lynn here. Chris, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. We got JA overseas. We got Jay-Z also traveling. So
Kansas City, right?
Kansas City, KC. So yeah, it's just us two tonight. We're going a little early, trying to, as you can see, not for any reason at all.
It's actually true.
Yeah, so we got a little bit to talk about this week. We got Dirt Classic at Lincoln this week and everything leading up to it. We had the World of Outlaws. We had, of course, okay, all right, Smeal. Fuck the Eagles over here.
He's just mad the Steelers lost.
Yeah, salty ass bitch.
To my Patriots. So continue on.
We'll talk a little bit of iRacing stuff. We have some stuff in the pipeline there. Andrew May, what's going on? We'll talk iRacing stuff. We got the of course full throttles halfway through the season about, and we got the posse. We finished Lernerville season, finished. And we're coming to a close on Williamsgrove and coming to the National Open there. And then we'll talk NASCAR stuff the last half. So let's get into it. Dirt Classic. Let's start with BAPS on Thursday. Didn't see any of the race here because it was on
Sprint Car Unlimited, right?
Yeah, it was on Sprint Car Unlimited. Great service, by the way. Not one of my streaming services that I have, so they don't have no subscription service. So I know Jeremy was there. He took some fire ass photos there. Brett Marks with the win that night. Had a good amount of cars. I think over 30.
I think it was 33 if I read right.
Yeah, so pretty good car count for them. They've had some pretty bad luck this year when it comes to 410 races, trying to get a car count, either weather or whatever else. So sounded like a good night for them. That automatically put Brett Marks locked into the Dirt Classic on Saturday night. Oh yeah, Smeal did.
I was fighting a raccoon, man. I couldn't be
there.
I almost died.
Chris, before tell us about your raccoon adventures.
This raccoon, man, tried to steal my cooler, stole my fishing bait, tried to bite me. It was not a good time. Or the eels. Eels are gross too.
I want to know, did the raccoon get rabies from you, or was it?
I don't. This thing needs to go back in its hole. Apparently, this is the first time that this raccoon in its general area has been way too friendly. Maybe if I can get the video. We have video of him trying to steal my Jeff Gordon cooler, first of all. And he almost died doing that.
He probably should have taken it. It's probably better.
He tried. His little paws are on it and shit. So I'm going to try to get the video and get it on the socials, because this is definitely Turn 2 Terrible level outdoor stuff, man. Never in my life. Like this
Turn 2 Terrible outdoor network.
Like this, unbelievable. I don't like raccoons anymore. They're right below possums now on the scale of creatures of the night.
Aren't they like the same thing?
I don't know. The creatures of the night, and not the fun kind. At least Alex is fun, but
Whoa. Jesus Christ.
A-Rob, if you're out there, you know. And we
and we're canceled.
He coined himself that.
That's true.
Between him and George, it's not my fault. I was just there for it.
Well, it's been fun, guys. No. So raccoon. It sounded like raccoon. Raccoon hunting.
That thing is gonna make it on the TikTok. The
Why
newly
didn't you-
launched TikTok.
Why didn't you just give the raccoon a beer?
That's what he was trying to take. I
Probably
had
just
2
hung
beers.
out.
He was trying to take the beers, and the chicken legs, and my foot. So I told Carter about
Did you
this.
give it chlamydia?
I told my daughter about it, and she's like, "Well, sharing's caring." He's like, "It's my toes, man." She goes, "Not those, dummy." I'm like, "All right, you're 5. Go back to school."
Kid's smart.
Too smart.
So I still say that you gave that raccoon not just the rabies, but also chlamydia.
Well, that's because you and Mrs. Ratbag maybe get chlamydia sunglasses at Pocono. So figure it out.
Whatever you put those on, you just hear chlamydia. That's what you hear. All right,
You're so
let's
far
get
down the rabbit
let's
hole.
get back on. Let's get back on
so
track.
far down the raccoon hole here.
Let's
Jesus.
get back. Let's get back on track. So yeah, Thursday night BAPS. Brett Marks won. Automatically qualified for the Dirt Classic on Saturday night. Friday night, the All Stars came into Williamsgrove for their final PA race of the year, and Lance DeWeese.
Doing Lance
What more can you say? Just doing Lance DeWeese things. That was his 108th.
Yep,
win at
108th
Williamsgrove.
win. Just unreal how fast he was. He draws number 1 in the redraw. Kind of know what's going to happen. It's his to lose at that point.
He's gone.
Track this time of year, as we talking about Dirt Classic, track doesn't widen out. So cool. They were hauling ass down the back stretch of Williamsgrove. If they'd have got the traffic, I think it would have got really interesting. But Tyler Courtney wanted to send Justin Peck to the parking lot.
That was kind of a controversial move. A lot of people weren't happy about it. Peck went for a wild ride. He flipped at least 10 times, I would say, before he landed out of the park.
Though.
Yeah, which was insane. He still ended up getting his car at least drivable during the red flag, got back in the car and drove it back to 11th. Justin Peck's a very underrated driver, I think, and I think we're going to be hearing his name for obviously years to come. I think he might, might be talking about him in like a World of Outlaw victory lane here in next year or two. I could see that for sure. But yeah, Lance wins Friday night. So Brent and Lance locked into the Saturday night Dirt Classic format. You have time trials. You run double heats. You invert the entire field. The second heat, they do points. Top 20 in points lock in, plus the 2 who won Thursday and Friday. And then you got top 4 in the B. So that's how it was lined up on Saturday night. Anthony Macri was the high point getter by almost a lot. He was definitely the track. I mean, again, you said it. It's Pennsylvania. It's kind of wild that we're here at the end of the season because I feel like we're just starting to get going, and we're here. But the track, it's cooler at night. The track stays heavier, and it doesn't widen out like it was maybe back in beginning of August. So it's not as racy. It didn't get too bad in the feature, but it was still definitely top dominant. And Anthony Macri leads 39 of the 40 laps until the last lap he gets passed by Brett Marks.
On the bottom.
And on the bottom. Well, slide job. Yeah,
Right.
But Brett
bottom
came on
started
the
coming
bottom.
in, right?
Yeah, Brett was one of those guys being able to run the bottom. And he came from like 8th or 9th to win that $20,000 at Lincoln. Thoughts?
It's Brent Marks, Anthony Macri doing those things that they do. I think just go back to early in the year, they got off hot, leading the country in winnings. Brent Marks went on to win the Kings Royal. Year of his career for sure. Not surprising. Those would be the 2 guys. I think when we get to previewing National Open or anything looking ahead in the next couple weeks, those are 2 of probably the 5 posse guys that are threats. Maybe even 4 posse guys, but not surprising. Brent Marks has been good almost everywhere he goes.
Who are you saying is the 4th?
Against the Outlaws?
Yeah.
So we have Lance, Macri, Marks. I guess you have to put Danny in there. He's been fast. You have to. Freddie has shown that he has not gotten past the big race abilities to not suck. Starting to back, drives the top 10, but Danny's at least been there.
Danny Dietrich did a nice 50-50 grind on the front stretch guardrail. Landed there. So that was cool. That was
probably his parking ticket.
That actually probably set up Brett Marks' win because that caution came out. They were thick in lap traffic. Macri was really shoving it through there. I was kind of impressed because this is one thing with Macri, and it's something that happens with just experience and stuff, but he was somebody that when he was leading the race, he had a hard time with lap traffic. He's not having that problem anymore, hence why he's probably winning more. And he was doing a good job at Lincoln with it. I was surprised, and then once they had a clean track in front of him, Brent just kind of ran him down with 5 to go. So, yeah. So Brent Marks, congratulations. Dirt Classic. I'm trying to think of any other storylines from this race. There wasn't really anything too nuts. Track wasn't as racy, which is kind of Pennsylvania in September. I mean, Williamsgrove is going to be like that. I'm sure Selinsgrove coming up this week will be like that. Just it's hard to get it to slick off when, it's getting down to 50 degrees at night and, it's still humid in the air. So, yeah.
I mean, it was the first race in a long time the All-Stars put a car on a podium, so good for them. Glad they showed up. Even though it's Justin Peck, who's...
What is that? What is that bootleg double D wing panel? Says friend of the show, Brett Perigo.
Danny copies me, Perigo. That's my wing. Jay-Z Photography, Billy Raleigh.
If you're watching on Flow Racing on Friday night, there was multiple Brett Perigo sightings.
I saw Brett Perigo a couple times.
In the
and as he introduced
in the Devon Borden pit.
And as he introduced, the legendary Perigo was there as well, his dad.
Yes.
I don't fully believe that. Brett's a legend.
Also, I guess on Saturday night, so you had 50 cars at Lincoln on Saturday night for the Dirt Classic. There was 40 cars at Lernerville for, I think it was 10,000 win?
10,000, yeah. Commonwealth Clash.
Sanctioned by the Fast Series. It was on Lernerville.tv, which I did not know was a thing. But Aaron Reitzel made the trek out, which I wonder if that's a sign of things to come here as we get closer to this National Open here.
Yeah, he's going to go back home. He want to come over here and get the smoke.
He didn't run Knox, though, which was on Sunday night. He only ran Lernerville, so I don't know. But Aaron Reitzel goes and gets the win there at Lernerville. As we have Andrew May and Brett Perigo flirting in chat. This is cute to watch. Yeah. Any other thoughts from the PA weekend? It was kind of uneventful. It was a good weekend. It was Lincoln announced next year, and this all right. This kind of leads into another thing. Something I completely forgot about that I do want to talk about. So Lincoln announced that next year's Dirt Classic is going to be a 2-day affair on Labor Day weekend, which the Dirt Classic will be that Labor Day Sunday, so it'll be before the Tuscarora 50 instead of after. Thoughts on that?
That's a bold move. They go up against fair opener. I don't think that's a big deal. That's just a regular points race. I mean, we were there for it this year. You didn't get a huge draw from outsiders other than the guys that were staying for the week anyway. Even Brent Marks took the night off.
Yeah, it's not an all-star sanctioned event or anything.
So it's
it was
just a
more of
regular
a
show.
late model show, to be honest.
Right, and I think that's probably why Port is okay with it. And I think it's a bigger deal for Selinsgrove on that Sunday. I think it's a big deal for outsiders coming in because now most of those guys I think would come to Lincoln on Saturday unless they're tuning up for the Tusky.
So here's the thing. It's all-star sanctioned event. I'm assuming. They
They
didn't make that
announced that? I
announcement.
don't know.
No, they didn't. But you would assume it's been almost every year. It was the Lou Blaney Memorial on Labor Day weekend that they were at Sharon for 2 days. Now it's going to be 2 days at Lincoln instead. So that kind of shakes things up there, granted that the All-Stars are sanctioning it. I would imagine they would be. I don't...
They might just back it up a few days or
a
week, flip-flop them.
So where I'm going with this is are they working together with Port Royal? Maybe Port Royal makes that fair opener night just completely a late model race. You know what I mean? They don't even, because they have 4 other races that week, at Port Royal for 410s. So
maybe they push Butch Renninger to be the premier thing of no sprint cars.
Yes.
Right, and that would be smart on Port Royal side, because they had 20-something this year sprint cars. They had a full field. It wasn't like B-mains and stuff. I don't think.
What this kind of ties into is Selinsgrove also announcing that the promotion team that has been there the past couple of years, including Hefner and a lot of the other guys that run Speed Week and work with, especially, Lincoln, they are no longer the promoters there. So this felt like a jump on it. We're leaving Selinsgrove, and we're, that Sunday race for Selinsgrove is probably their biggest race of the year up until what's coming up hopefully this weekend. It just felt like a grab from them. You know what I mean? To be honest, they're not promoting it anymore. Selinsgrove hasn't announced a new promoter. I think they'll be okay, but I think for a track that has struggled to get 410 races in the past few years, ever since they lost the All-Stars 4 years ago, they have struggled. Their Speed Week race is probably actually their biggest race of the year, because that definitely brings people out, but they're having a hard time getting more than 20 cars every time they bring a 410 race in. I don't feel good for Selinsgrove. I hope they can figure it out. Listen, plenty of other dirt racing, but we all know 410 is king here in the 410 wing sprint cars are king here in Central PA. That's what's going to bring the most people out. A lot of people come out for like short Lucas Oil late models and stuff like that. But sprint cars are king around here, and if you can't get sprint car shows, you're going to have a hard time. So I felt like this was kind of a, I don't know.
It's kind of a slap in the face. I mean, is what it is. And sucks for Selinsgrove. I mean, you're not going to get, if they try to run the show, who you're going to get there? Guys that most likely don't qualify for Lincoln and know that, so they go there, which isn't bad. But you're not going to get a full field.
They already tried that this year where like the All-Stars or something come in and they try to run the same night to try to give, another option for these 410 teams to go on a Saturday night. And it hasn't really worked very well. So I don't know. It's good for Lincoln. I think it's a good move for Lincoln in the long run. I think it makes sense if they want to make it a dirt classic, doing it on holiday weekend, make it a 2-day show. Makes a lot of sense, especially with them doing the points and everything the way they do it. I'm kind of interested in how they do the format. It's a long night. They did a better job of keeping it moving on Saturday night. It was done by like 11:30.
And I think it's a good opportunity for Lincoln to have a premier event. We talked about they have a bunch of really good events, but they didn't really have anything that was the Tuscarora 50 for them or the National Open. They don't have. This is the closest they have, and this is a way to kind of cement that more. I feel like so good for Lincoln. And trying to really promote this thing. I know like the Brian Monteith Classic's coming up, but it's his first year. I don't know what that's going to be.
It's on Tuesday.
Right, the Dirt Classic is probably their breadwinner for the year, so why not go all in on it?
Yeah, no, I it's smart for Lincoln. They're doing. It's kind of cutthroat though. It's just knowing that Sunday show right before, it's a holiday night. It's the same thing with one reason why the Speed Week show for Selinsgrove, which who knows if they continue to get that show now without the promotion team there backing them. But they usually get that Sunday, that very last show, which is usually that Sunday, usually on a holiday weekend, depending on when the 4th of July falls. So
my follow-up question from the Port Royal side would be, how many of you guys choose to not run the Labor Day Classic now? Because
after
the turnaround,
2 days,
do two, because you're going to have the Grove probably Friday night, Lincoln, And then a quick turnaround to a day race. Like,
what happens if that? What happens if the classic gets rained out on a Sunday if they're running on a Monday?
Right. Like it's
so that starts
an added layer.
Let's go to the chat here and get some. We have some comments on this here. Brett Perigo gave it a thumbs down. Smeal over here says it doesn't affect Selinsgrove because the owners of Lincoln were the promoters at Selinsgrove. That's what we're saying. It does affect Selinsgrove. Port could move the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series back a week and make it the fair opener, which is a good point. I think, and that's what I mean. It's the Busch Renninger Memorial. It was more of that fair opener was more of a late model race anyway. So if they can make that memorial race also maybe get it sanctioned by Lucas Oil, that could be very big for Port and kind of make it work out. And Brett also says the only good thing that is Lincoln already runs a 2-day show, so it just lets everybody know in advance. So, and Facebook user who I believe is Chalk Guy said he sent us a video from Saturday night at Lincoln, so we'll have to check it out. Wingless Sportsman 10K to win fair opener. I'm here for it. I would love to see that.
Especially if Perigo won, we'd burn the whole thing down.
Hell yeah. Oh, Perigo would definitely win that. So, yeah, definitely an interesting announcement, and it makes me, with Grandview closing and Selinsgrove possibly being out of the picture for maybe a Speed Week show, and some of these other shows maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating. Selinsgrove sounded when they released, they did a press release, they sounded pretty confident that they were going to be fine. But I just don't see them getting more than 3, maybe 3 410 races. Maybe if they could get an all-star race back, that would be cool. But I don't know.
They said that they were going to be racing, but they didn't really say what. I mean, Bloomsburg, we had their own struggles there. They had 2 all-star dates. Why not give one of them to Selinsgrove? Not that Bloomsburg wants to do that, not that you want that, but maybe that's where the all-stars like, hey, we want to come to the area, but we don't want to do that again twice. I don't know.
Great. I'd be fine with that. Split the difference. Be nice to do it on a weekend too, not on a friggin' Wednesday night. Even I'll take a Sunday. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of weekends to go around here. I mean, Lincoln damn near runs 30 races in a year, so maybe them moving it off this date. I guess looking at the glass half full, them moving it to Labor Day weekends opens up that weekend after Port Royal's Tuscarora 50, where there's still a lot of people in town because you got National Open coming up. So, I don't know.
Right.
Perigo says, I don't see the All-Stars going back to Bloomsburg next year. Yeah, me neither. Take a year off until Bloomsburg proves they can handle it. I think Bloomsburg needs... they need to just get on a weekend somewhere, even a Sunday night. They need to get off of... they need to get off of doing Wednesday and Thursday shows. I know that they get the bigger series in there, but they got to get a Friday, Saturday night show somehow, even if it's not a 410, and just start. I don't know.
Something, right?
Something. So I'm really interested in how the schedule plays out next year around here in Central PA. I think a lot of things are going to get changed. I think a lot of things are. I think we're in for some surprises, some new stuff.
Jimmy's gonna get arrested.
No. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's just the amp.
It's worse than my fire alarm going off last week. We kind of spinning on that, though. Selinsgrove opens National Open this weekend, Friday.
Well, before we get into that, Smeal just said something right here, and that's why I have hope for Bloomsburg. If they can keep the town off their back, Steve O'Neill is their promoter, and he has been doing a good job of bringing in big series right off the bat, even though it's a Wednesday or Thursday night. He's getting them in there. So I'm hopeful for maybe a Speed Week show. I'm just saying. I'm just hopeful for it. I think they could get there.
Grandview, I mean, that opens that opportunity up.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways. There's going to be a lot, and honestly, what's going to happen with Selinsgrove? You know what I mean? If they don't have, it seems like to get a Speed Week show and to get 410 shows, you got to be in this circle, and that circle, Selinsgrove was in that circle. Now they're not, and you have another person
in that circle,
Steve O'Neill, in that circle at Bloomsburg. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that could happen there. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so spinning off of that, though, I think this weekend for Selinsgrove is huge. Friday night, they're going straight up against Williams-Grove. I don't know what that means for either one. I think it screws both of them a little bit because it's still a points race. So you're still, I think you'll get the big guys, big names like Brent Marks.
You still got Saturday
Macri.
night.
Right, but I think you'll see those guys go up Friday. I would expect anyway. It's an Outlaw tune-up at Williams-Grove, so anyone that's not named Brent Marks or Anthony Macri, it's probably going to be at Williams-Grove. I don't see Lance going to Selinsgrove if he races at all.
I don't see him going at all.
I mean, I don't see him. I would see him come to Williams-Grove, I would think. But I don't think he's going to go to Selinsgrove either way.
I don't think he's going to Selinsgrove either night.
Right, I agree. So I think it's another situation where I don't think either one gets a full field. Well, not on Friday. Anyway.
On Friday, I think there's enough money at Selinsgrove for Selinsgrove to get at least about 18 on Friday night. You're going to have Brownie there. I think you might see.
It's going to be close. I think it's going to be probably more at Selinsgrove, depending. But
I think is Danny still in the points there at Williams-Grove? Yeah,
he's third in points, but he's not realistically going to catch them.
So I see him going to Selinsgrove. I could see Brent going to Selinsgrove.
I see Macri going to Selinsgrove.
So Raymer,
Dylan
Norris, Chad Trout, they'll all stay at Williams-Grove.
Right. So
I see Wolfie going to Selinsgrove. I don't know. I'm just hypothetical.
It's hard to say. It's a straight toss-up. I think the point
I don't
was
know what the weather is looking like
looks
either.
Cold but good. High 68, low 48s, but sun, no rain all weekend. It looks like. So
that's
it's
a bummer. It's a bummer for you guys. I'll be in nice 90-degree sun.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna rain.
0% chance of rain for 5 straight days. So.
Whatever. Go be the hippie.
I guess I can't. There's no sprint car racing out there though, so it's not as fun.
Go drink your wine and be weird, freak.
Pinky up.
But yeah, so go ahead. I just wanted.
Zach in there saying 16 at Grove and 12 at Selinsgrove on Friday. So that's a bold choice. Put your car counts in the chat. We'll shout them out here.
Later.
We'll see them for later. But I think Saturday night, weather permitting, I think Selinsgrove can get about 30 cars. Running for 20. I think it's 20 to win. I think it's like 1,000 to start. I know it's hard on motors, but I think they'll get the big guns out. They have a couple invaders. I wonder the All-Stars. Well, here's the other thing: who goes to Eldora?
Right, that's the other.
I could see Brent going to. I don't know. Brent.
No, he
said he's going to Selinsgrove, which makes sense. I
don't think our guys travel at this point.
No, I don't think so. Not with
National Open next week.
30-ish Silver Crown cars at Eldora, says Brett. That's cool. Yeah, that we're gonna get into that here in a second because let's get into it right now, I guess. Eldora, 4 Crown Nationals. This is usually a pretty cool weekend of the year because you get to see all different cars. You get all the 3 different divisions of USAC, plus you get World of Outlaws. And All-Stars, right? All-Stars close out their season? Usually.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I know Outlaws are there Friday night.
And then I think it's All-Stars on Saturday. Usually the All-Stars close their season out at this race, but I could be. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, actually. But yeah, cool race. We'll see. It's usually a long night there at Eldora because you got so many cars and you got a lot of people doing double, triple duty. You think anybody goes and wins more than one division?
No.
I agree.
Buddy's the only one that maybe has a shot at it.
Yeah. Buddy's probably the only one.
But even still, I don't see it.
Maybe Justin Grant?
Maybe more than one division. You said more than one division? Yeah, I can see that.
I could see him winning 410 and maybe Silver Crown. Or midgets. He might be the guy. I don't know if Tyler Courtney's running more than one. We'll see. Brett says All-Stars have a 2-day at Fremont after 4 Crown. That's right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have more to say than that.
I've never been there. Probably, honestly, won't be watching it. I'll be at Williams-Grove on Friday and doing I don't know what the rest of the weekend. So
gotta go to Selinsgrove, man.
You're not there. Why would I go?
Aw, that's cute. Let us know in the chat if you're going to Selinsgrove on Saturday. Try to get out there, support a track. Selinsgrove's a very legendary track, and they're putting a lot of heart and soul into this event. So if you're able to make it, get on out there. I know, it's not everybody's favorite track, but it's not a bad track. I'll tell you that.
No, I enjoy Selinsgrove. I enjoy going to BAPS. Like I do like going there. Didn't work out for me to go to BAPS last week. Every time I try to go to BAPS, it rains, so it's probably best I didn't try. So, yeah, I think it'd be a good race, and I mean I would go, but it's not the cards.
Gotcha. Anything else from World of Dirt this week?
If you're talking World of Outlaws over the weekend,
yeah,
yeah. Schuhart wins. Jacob Allen second, 2 weekends in a row. Good for them.
Yeah, Stark Racing 1-2. Chase McFadden with a nice third place. There's a little bit of a controversial slider there on Logan over Carson, but I don't think there's really much about it, to be honest.
No, Logan did what he had to do, I think, and left him a lane. Didn't really leave him a lane, but he didn't wreck him and didn't bend anything up but the tail tank. So,
Zach Altoff asks, what are the top 5 tracks for 410s on Central PA in your opinion? Can we get 5 tracks? Is what I'm getting scared about.
Well, I mean,
to be honest, we can.
Depends on how you determine Central PA.
I mean, you could just name the 5 tracks that they go to at this point now that are still going to be open.
Grove, Port, Lincoln, BAPS.
BAPS.
I guess you could argue over
Selinsgrove or Bloomsburg.
That's the argument.
You could maybe. I mean, if you want to really try to
argue Bridgeport.
Bridgeport's not even PA.
I know, but they claim it anyway.
I know. Everybody wants to say Path.
I would take Selinsgrove or Bloom over Path.
Yeah, same here.
Top 3 is even easier. It's Port, Grove,
Lincoln. Port, Grove, Lincoln. Yeah. And in that order.
More or less, right.
Port, Grove, Lincoln. Yeah. Path. I mean, I feel like that's a track where half the cars don't even run an actual 410 when they do go there. So, you know what I mean? So,
all right. And if you're Dakota Coon out there listening, Latrobe's probably the best track in all of America. So,
Paps Blue Ribbon, motherfucker.
Yeah. So Outlaws coming back east now, and getting it set up for National Open.
Yeah, National Open, Williamsgrove National Open. Now, I will not be here next week, as I was saying. I don't know. We don't know what our plans are for the show other than probably at their regular time.
We had here, regular time. Hopefully Jay-Z's back. Or else she'll be stuck with me, and God knows what I drag in here.
Maybe I'll try to call in again if I'll see. I might be nice and wine drunk and hanging out in a hot tub. I don't know. Might fuck around, call in. But I did want to talk about National Open a little bit.
Yeah, so let's get your picks and your thoughts on it, because next week we can go into more detail.
I think it's really hard to pick against Brent Marks or Anthony Macri at this point. Lance looks really good, but we got to remember that the Outlaws are coming in. And it would be really cool for a Shark Racing car to win. Logan or especially Jacob Allen would be awesome to see. They ran well there.
Jacob Allen should have won the Summer Nationals.
Yep. It was a spring race.
Whatever race it was, ran gas, right? Yeah.
Man, I don't know. It's hard to pick anybody. I mean, obviously, I want Posse over everybody. But I think you got to watch out for Carson Macedo. You got to watch out for the Shark Racing cars. They're all very strong right now. David Gravel's always really good there. And honestly, it's going to be hard to pick again. My guess, the way the National Open goes, it's so cool and heavy, usually, especially on Friday night, that it's hard to pick against an Outlaw car. It really is, because that's the type of track that they're all about, the horsepower and everything. So it's really hard to pick against them. But I do think this is one of the and Brent just won it a couple years ago. But I do think this is one of the more confident years going into it, where we could say, hey, a Posse guy, more than one of them has a really good shot at taking down the Outlaws, and maybe can you imagine Posse sweep? could you imagine that again?
That would be
you know, for the National Open.
Lunacy. But outside of the guys you mentioned, one that I think would be probably one of the coolest would be Pittman in that Hefner car.
That would be cool.
Just
he
because of
really
how close
good
he's been.
Friday.
He looked really good Friday. Lucas Wolf looked really good on Friday too.
Yes, he did.
I don't think Lucas Wolf is going to pull it off. That would be nuts. Place 5.
I could see him maybe cracking out a top 10.
Right. But if not for those 3 guys, Posse, as you mentioned, and the rest of the Posse, of course, or the Shark cars. I mean, Receivers going to be good. Obviously, Shots, Sweet. They're the Outlaws. They're good. Pittman winning that race would be probably one of the
coolest things. Really
things.
Cool. I think that would be better.
He would burn it down.
I would rather see. It's going to be controversial. I'd rather see that win over Brent Marks or Anthony Macri win it.
No, you can't say that.
I can say that.
That gets us canceled.
No,
okay, Jimbo.
Come on, seeing that 27 car win the National Open with Pittman. Pittman has been so.
I think Pittman.
Close.
I don't think he would get. Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna hate it.
No. Listen, love Brent and Macri are probably the best 2 shots with Lance right there, for a Posse victory over the Outlaws.
But yeah, Pittman
they've won so much already this year that they don't win this, and Pittman wins it. Probably more ecstatic.
I'm not gonna hate it.
That would be really cool. That's you just
finished second, what, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, the year that Brent won it, he was right there. He
finished second to Big Fred Raymer in his big National Open win.
So,
it's rough.
Dark horses.
That was my dark horse.
That's a pretty dark horse.
TJ fucking Studs. After this week.
That's beyond a dark horse. That's an invisible horse right there, bud.
Hey, he was hauling ass on Friday.
Yeah, against who?
The All-Stars.
I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm just saying, like, once the Outlaws come into town, it's a different story.
Saying, he was hauling ass. He won his heat.
So my prediction has been all along Danny Dietrich 15th in the feature.
Does that make him your dark horse?
Over or under. Chat, over or under 15th for Danny Dietrich in the chat. Put him in there.
I think he finishes top 5.
Get the fuck out of here. No way. There's no fucking way. I'm sorry.
I'm hedging my bets. Top 5.
I don't think so. Top 5.
Pittman's going to pass him.
Spiel's going to fight us. He's going to fight me. Dark horse, though?
Freddie.
No.
I'm calling Freddie a dark horse because he literally barely made the show.
You're just naming names that have no shot at winning now.
He's the track points leader. Going to be winning the championship like the 4th time.
How many times has he actually won there this year, though? Like once?
Maybe.
Dietz is a dark horse? Jesus.
You gave me shit. No.
Spiel already said it. Spiel said it. That's where I was going.
No. Yeah, you are a homer. Biased homer.
He almost won it a couple years ago.
He's not winning this race.
Almost won it a couple years ago.
Are you going to give actual dark horses or just keep picking with your heart?
He's due for a good run at Williamsgrove, man. He's had a tough luck at Williamsgrove, especially since he joined the Outlaw Tour. I would love to see it. And I would say he has a shot. He's been running better with the Outlaws. He's been very consistent. I don't see it. If Brock gets a top 10, I think it's a win. And I could see him getting a top 10.
I'm just going to let you marinate and talk through this.
Top 10.
That's nothing wrong with that. I'm here for it.
If Sheldon Hodenshield wins. If Sheldon Hodenshield wins. Or Danny wins.
This would be good.
What should I do? If either one of them win, I'll do something ridiculous on the show after.
I mean, I showed you that Harry Styles suit with the China hat doing interviews. I mean, you might have to. Port Royal's the following weekend.
Oh, shit, yeah. Bill Rose for the win. If Bill Rose makes it out of the C main. Oh, over under how many cars do you think? Think we get 50? 42?
No.
I think that's a good number.
42 is the number.
I think 42 is a good number.
And that's hoping that Zemco shows up.
No, they're not going to show up.
They showed up last year.
60 cars, says Smeal. Get the fuck out of here.
The dude that hates on Williamsgrove the most throws out a 60 bomb.
60. Where are these 60 cars coming from?
The 50
barely got
60 cars.
They barely got 60 cars at Kings Royal this year. They got like what? Like who's coming? Who's
42.
coming from all over the
42 is the number. Sorry.
You're gonna. I will say 75,000. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's how much they win. That's
So-
not how many. That's not gonna be 60 more cars.
$75,000. 75,000 cars.
But they didn't get 60 at 175,000 to win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is math that hard? Okay, 42.
42, I think, is a good number. I think it'll be right about around there.
It's a good over-under number. Like you put it over under 42.
I'll say
Use that on the socials.
it's gonna depend a little bit on weather.
So far, weather looks great.
I'll say over.
Way too far out forecast. Weather looks no rain.
I'll say over by a smidge. I'll say over by. I'm saying like
Especially
45.
Saturday.
45 is the cap.
I'm thinking like 40 on Friday, 45 Saturday. I can see that.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that. Okay, cool. Not 75,000 cars and not 60 cars, so that's not it. Brett thinks 50. I could, I wouldn't be
Sweet
shocked.
50.
I wouldn't be shocked if it hit 50, but I don't see it. I think some of those, a lot of the All-Stars won't come.
Well, based on how they got swept for the last month and a half, I wouldn't show up either.
And don't they run Fremont? All-Stars run Fremont.
Against the National Open?
I think so.
That is terrible if they did that.
Let me look it up quick. Hold on.
The All-Stars, if they did that, that really screwed the pooch.
10-7, 10-8. I'm wrong. They run the weekend after. My bad. Fremont is against Port. And Port will still get almost 50 cars, I bet. No, they
That's
probably won't.
false. They'll get
That's
maybe
false.
30.
They'll get about 40.
That's not a points race. They'll get that race doesn't do as well as any of the other
Yeah,
races.
you're right. And it's also later in the year.
And it's cold as hell.
That's way too far out looking. Yeah. So one person I think to watch out for will be Brian Brown.
I was gonna say that. Sneaky.
Maybe
He's been fast.
If things go right, maybe to win, but I could see him maybe sneaking into the podium one of the two nights. But you better believe Donnie Schatz is going to be on his game. Brad Sweet's been getting better there. I hate to say it. You're going to have Sheldon. You got Gravel, who's really good there. Cito's been very good there. You got the Shark cars. Half Valley is running a 93 lapper against the National Open, but 93 lapper in what?
Sportsman's probably.
Sportsman's?
Probably where Perigo's going to be at.
Perigo better be at the National Open.
Yeah, I don't know. I think early guesses. I think that's right. I mean, if you're looking at PA cars, you could put Marks, Macri, DeWeese, maybe Danny. I think you have to include Fred out of respect a little bit. But as shots, right? Outlaws, Mosquito, Sweet, Shots, the Shark cars, Gravel.
Buddy
all of them.
Coldboy, Gio Celsi?
No.
They're
not going to know. Maybe for QuickTime. Didn't Gio go QuickTime the other night?
Mm-hmm.
Never saw him be relevant again.
I get it, but it's no invert and shit,
It's true. I mean,
It's a little bit of a different format.
A little bit.
So, we'll see.
You doing dirt drinking and dump like we did last week, or we just gotta...
What?
Last week we did a dirt drinking and dump it. Do you want to do that again? That's fun. It's kind of fun. Keeps it broken up.
Sure, let's do that. Let's go. Drink it or dump it.
For dirt. Chat.
For dirt. Drink it. You want to go first? I don't know.
I gotta drink it.
I guess I'll go Brett Marks, obviously. 2 wins during the week. $20,000, another crazy win. Just been rolling heavy, And my dump, it's going to be Selinsgrove. losing that promotion team is going to be tough to overcome. Maybe they bring in some of the right people, but yeah, that's where I'm going.
Drink it, TJ Stutz. Podium on Friday night, top 10 on Saturday. Car was fast, won the heat. Absolute animal. At times he's shown that throughout years and stuff, but I think it's a big drink it for him this weekend. I don't know if they got a fresh motor or things just clicked for that team for the weekend, but they were hauling. Dump it. It's got to be Freddie, right? Like, looking at it, he recovered well, but you were plus 13 at Lincoln. It's your home track because you barely made the show. Friday night, had to use provisional to even make the show and pulled off again. I know motor problems, things like that, but we talked about you.
It's not a good weekend.
You really talked about before big shows. Danny and Freddie need to show up. Danny Dietrich, Fred Raymond need to show up to these things. Danny started doing it a little bit more. Freddie, again, these gremlins.
He's absent. Yeah.
Comes up again. Whether it's mechanical, has him, who knows? I don't know. But
I like that.
If I'm dumping it, I'm going Freddie Raymond this weekend. He's the points leader at both tracks, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he already basically clinched Lincoln.
Right. I mean, bad weekends happen. I get it, but
it's
this is a bad time of year to be having bad weekends.
It's also becoming too coincidental on when those bad weekends are.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I agree. Dump it for him. Smeal says drink it to a posse weekend sweep. Absolutely. I think only one All-Star got on the podium
in the last 6 weeks. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And dump it for Labor Day weekend bullshit. I think he means the Dirt Classic moving to Labor Day weekend and kind of muddying that up. What was always a tradition, but I think it's an exciting change because it opens up some things as well. Dump it for Macedo crying about running into the back of Schuhart. I agree. I thought that was a pretty clean slider from Schuhart. I don't see that's why we didn't really talk about it too much because there wasn't much to debate, really. I mean, a lot of people are talking about it, but shit, if you can't see him sliding from a mile away, man, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? He ended up finishing fourth anyway. I mean, he was going to get passed at some point regardless, so sucks to suck, bud. All right, let's talk a little iRacing real quick. We got full throttle. Atlanta last week. We were running, and Posse were running, was going to be the night before the Tuscarora 50. You decided to run because you're in for playoffs.
I was at Atlanta, chugging along.
How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, top 5. Issues, I don't know if it was my wheel or what it was, just struggled.
Truck guy, you can go ahead, throw your dump it in the chat, man. Drink it, dump it. Kevin Griffey, what's going on, man? Sorry, go ahead. Talk about Atlanta.
Right, so while they get their drink it, dumps in here, Atlanta was tough. I mean, it's strict plate track, you know. I mean, I guess whatever they call it, drafting track, tapered spacer, whatever. Fighting loose all night. What are you gonna do? Still, salvaged top 5. Another good points day, 16 points.
Dumping it on the head all-star official.
Oh boy.
For what?
Context there.
Yeah, I don't know. Something must have happened. I don't remember. We were at home watching Bristol and Dirt Classic at the same time. I'm trying to think of what happened with the officials. So, if you have some context, anybody, let us know. I will gladly dump it on an all-star official. Like it's a good time.
Yeah. So how did Port go?
Port. We've been having some gremlins to work out of the track since it's gotten on iRacing. So we're trying to figure out how to run it as a group. It's been getting better, much better. You figured it out here.
Right? You finished third? Got podium?
I did finish third, but I was one of 3 running cars.
Nice. Had you paint the chalk line while the pace car's coming. Good job.
Oh, that's not good. What the hell?
Dump him with the chalk.
Yeah, what the hell? That's...
Tell him to choke on it.
Yeah. Definitely dump it for the head all-star official. That was dumb. Pay attention, bud. Yeah, so unsafe, they just want to push. Yeah. You kind of see that sometimes. Sometimes I like I said, they were Lincoln on Saturday. They were really they seem to be kind. There's times where I'm like, come on, man, like, what are we sitting here for 20 minutes for? Get the cars out on the track. You got 10 friggin' heats to do. you got all these cars. But they did a good job of keeping it moving. But there's a line where you got to draw it, where you got to keep people safe as well.
Port File gets the win. First career Port Royal win.
He does. We did postpone the Tuscarora 50 till the end of the season until we work some things out with Port Royal, which we're figuring out. Just it's gonna be it's tough. We had the same problem, and I don't even want to say problem, but same issues with Williamsgrove in the Posse League, and we have found ways to get the track to the right way and everybody to race the right way, and we just have to figure that out at Port Royal as well to really make it the product that we want. So we'll be working on that. We'll be racing Port Royal all winter long. We got Lernerville also finished Fin Posse League. Congratulations to Trevor Royer, our Lernerville track champion. Andrew May in second, who just was announced. Him and Jack were just announced to the Brent Marks Sim team. Congratulations. Official new members of the Brent Marks Sim team. So Andrew May doing him proud. Second in points. And he's also second in points behind Trevor Roy, who already clinched points for Williamsgrove and Posse, which we'll be going to running our Twin 20s tomorrow night before the National Open next week, which I'll unfortunately miss. I'm getting a little sad about that. But final points race for Posse.
I really want to see the video he sent in. I don't know how we missed it.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out.
But yeah, dump it for All-Star Head Official.
Yeah,
I'm in on that.
Yeah, you gotta keep people safe, man. We've seen some crazy stuff, some fires that happened, and
right. Speaking of which, I think we did it with Wes. Shot at him from the Austin Bishop thing a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Always around when it matters. So he missed that a couple weeks ago, I know. So give him his due.
Another drink it real quick before we go on a break here. Dylan Sisney, mayor of Port Royal. That's insane. Cheers to him, man. I mean, on fire one day, mayor the next, and
I think that's gonna be big. It's big.
I think that's gonna help grow the track more and more. That just goes to show the main. A lot of people are really behind the track in that town. So, yeah. Anything else? Oh, we go tomorrow night. Like I said, we go to Williamsgrove, final points race. Wednesday night, we go to Daytona Road Course in full throttle. So we got those going on. We also have some things in the pipeline here that we'll be releasing some official stuff shortly, where we'll turn to Terrible's sim team going on. A couple things in the pipeline there, so we'll be changing it up on this iRacing segment a little bit.
But we really need to see Jay-Z's photo of the week.
Yes, we do.
Jay-Z
photo of the week from BAPS Motor Speedway on Thursday night. Jay-Z caught this gem. Woof. 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 Look at that. That thing is fire, man. Almost literally. Anthony Macri going in turn one there. I believe it's turn one.
Yeah, it looks like turn one.
Just what a fire shot. Jay-Z working it on Thursday night. And as always, FDS.
Jay-Z had a lot of good pictures this week. I know I saw some of them on his Facebook page trickling out. His website has a bunch of good ones. He's still working through a bunch, but
Jay-Z's always the man.
Yeah, he's figured it out. Not bad for a rookie. Too bad he's not here.
So, yeah, I guess we'll want to get right into the other flip side of the show here.
I'll take a quick break so I can go refuel.
Go refuel, bud.
I'll go refuel.
I'm going to talk with chat while you do that. I'm good.
You talk with chat while you do that. Sounds great. Getting old here.
So, while he goes and does that, Kevin Griffey over here saying Port Royal is surely the standard in PA. At one time, it was kind of the laughing stock of the area. Now it's the best track we have. That's for sure. I was looking at some photos that were being shared from Port from like 10, 15 years ago, and man, that place looks completely different. Obviously, not having to cover grandstands anymore, but also just the track itself. They've done so much work there over the years. I know it was a conversation for a while, how can Port do that, but like a place like Williamsgrove can't. And obviously, I mean, you got the Fair Board behind you, you're getting government grants to do things, so it definitely works in the favor of Port Royal as long as you got the town behind you and the Fair Board, obviously. Something that's just why I think Bloomsburg brought in Steve O'Neill. But yeah, I mean, Williamsgrove, even Selinsgrove way back in the day, those were the two big tracks in the area. And now it's, you got Port and Lincoln really at the cream of the crop, and Williamsgrove's just Williamsgrove's still great. Don't get me wrong. I love Williamsgrove a lot more than other people, but I still think it's a premier track in the country. But they do kind of rest on their name a little bit. Port Royal and Lincoln are consistently improving themselves and are deserving everything that they're getting right now because they're putting in the work and it's showing. So, yeah, just waiting for Chris to get back here. And we're going to talk some NASCAR at Bristol. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to preview some of the playoff stuff that's going on and also talk about Kyle Busch moving to Richard Churchill's Racing next year. So stick around. All right, we're back.
Oh, I thought you weren't leaving.
I did. I was on there for a little bit. Kevin says, well, I don't understand why Grove or Port doesn't have a video board, but Lincoln does. Kind of mind-blowing. I agree. I mean, the video board's cool. I think Port will eventually get one. Williamsgrove. What Williamsgrove needs to do to improve that track.
Fix their effing scoreboard.
What? Yeah.
That light bulb's still out. Pisses me off.
Fix the scoreboard. They could upgrade the scoreboard for sure. If they just move the pits to the outside of the track, hear me out. I know some people are agreeing. If they just move it to the outside of the track, you wouldn't need a video board. Whole outside? Yeah. If they just did that, take a page out of Selinsgrove's book because they did it.
Or Port's book.
Or obviously Port, yeah.
And Lincoln, I think, at one time.
Yeah. And they all did it. So it's the move. It's one, I think it's definitely safer and two, it opens up the sightlines for all the fans in the infield, in the stands. Yeah,
They could literally just take the winter, repave that outer pit area, asphalt. The teams would like that for when it rains. They don't get their stuck in there. Like I know Dakota talked about it before with us, like where the pits get so flooded they can't get them dried out enough to race. Um, yeah, and with that, campers in a park, that'd be great for National
I think
Open.
that's a good
We dealt with
idea.
that last year.
Yep.
And then just do like, even if you don't want to open that space at Williams Grove up for fans, do what you do at Port. Put all the cars in there for time trial shows and stuff and the scales, and just push them out, but you can still see everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they could also. There's a lot of adjustments they can do there. I think it's a lot for safety, man. I mean, there's some unsafe spots in that track still that they've been very lucky over the years that haven't been worse, even though they've had a lot of really bad accidents and some fatalities. So,
right.
You know, man, I don't know. It's frustrating because I feel like the move out to the pits, moving the pits out of the infield, is such a no-brainer. Like
it can't cost that much.
It cannot cost that much. I mean, if Selinsgrove was able to do it when they were low, I mean, you just get some modified, and you don't have to pave it right away. Just get some, modified stone and throw it down. And I don't know. Maybe I'm making it sound more simple than it really is, but I feel like they can do that. And why not? You could probably get more people in there then. You know what I mean? Not that they ever sell out, but people would have more room. You'd be able to maybe sell more concessions in there. It would be a little more organized.
National Open, you don't lose your friends. You have to lose
Yeah.
National Open, we're going to be tied. We're all going to be having a rope tied to each other so we don't get lost in that mosh pit, basically, like little children.
Yeah. And then even then, even if you don't even open that whole thing up, you can make that a staging lane.
Like you do at Port.
You do at Port. Same thing. So you just don't need to have the haulers in there. Just get the haulers outside of the track. And that would make it better for everybody, but they refuse to do it. I do got to say, I do enjoy about Williams Grove is as soon as those races are over, you can go right into the pits there, and they're right there. That is one cool thing, but it's no different than just walking across the backstretch and going outside.
Right.
So, yeah, and I do agree with the campers over into the park. That makes a lot of sense. They have so much space there, and they don't utilize it right.
Year-round camping at fairs, do whatever, do something there all year long. Added revenue.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's things that are holding some of that stuff up, maybe, but
yeah,
it just doesn't
agree with that. Another tunnels, you don't have to wait. If you get stuck outside, like my buddy got stuck at the bridge after time trials, then he had to wait for all the heats to get done Friday night to get across to me.
Yep.
I told you it was dumb for parking.
I didn't even think of it. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose the bridge because the bridge is iconic.
But it kind of has to go.
But it does.
As a Grove guy.
You really think it has to go?
How long until someone truly center punches that thing? It's unlikely, but when it does happen, you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, I know. But it's been, how long is that bridge? That bridge has been up for 20 years?
Right, but we had NASCAR. We could go into the NASCAR stuff. They just went concrete walls for 40 years until there's ways around it. Let's stay ahead of it. The whole point of safety is to not be reactive. We talked about look at what BAPS did after the Hodnett deal. We still have openings off turn 2 at Williams Grove. There's always going to be some level there, but if you know something eventually is going to be a problem, get ahead of it.
That is something I've always been very critical of Williams Grove, is their safety, and they're barely, you're saying for them to be proactive. Shit, they're barely reactive. They just had one of their track crew members die there, and what did they do to put up about 10 fucking feet of fencing? It's pretty pathetic, to be honest. Just how little of a shit that they give.
Perceive to give.
That they perceive to give. Not everything, we can go into talking about other things that they have to do, but they're taking the old one out and putting a newer, better one in. Good, but
fence or bridge?
I think fence. But I mean, they only did this much, and you're telling me that they're not making enough money to be able to. I don't know. I don't buy it. But I think they're just doing the bare minimum to show that they're doing something. And
Right.
as we were just talking, how quickly Port Royal changed around. Granted, they probably got state grant money and they have the fair backing them and they have some different revenue. But Williamsgrove could take advantage of the same thing if they just managed it a little bit better. They have so much opportunity there and they have so much history there. It would be a shame for it to go down the drain.
Go away just because of not being proactive, right?
Yes. And like I said, barely being reactive. So I know I had talks with Justin. He told me there are things he wants
Josh
to do.
Aaron's
Josh Aaron's there. Let's go. Things he wants to do, but his hands are cuffed. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I'm sure money's part of it, and it sucks.
And there's things that obviously we don't know the ins and outs of. So we're just sitting here talking about what we think, and it was Smeel, you're saying that the catch fence, I could see 1 and 1 and 2 making sense. 3 and 4, I think you don't need one in my opinion, because it's a softer transition without it.
Yeah. That drop out of 1 and 2. I mean, Bernheisel broke his back. He did break his back. Flipping over it because it's like a 15.
It's a
drop.
Significant drop. Yeah, depending on where you leave the ground at.
And if they tapered that off, maybe then you don't need one. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that they could do there. And I'm sorry, just putting up a 10-foot section of fence over the tunnel is not a good enough off-season change for me. I think they need to do more significantly. Yeah. All right, let's get into NASCAR. Let's stop shitting on Williamsgrove, the best track according to Chris.
That is true. Also, Jimmy just wants to move along because he's getting dangerously close to missing the start of his Eagles game.
I didn't even think of that.
I'm looking out for you, buddy. I know how you are.
Thanks. I should have did fire off there because I got a little fired up. It wasn't time. It wasn't time.
I was more fired up than you. That's confusing.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's your home track, man.
Yeah.
It's like I fired off on DD, but he shit on.
I agree.
On my home track, so.
Yeah, but you see, it doesn't matter. Bristol. I love Bristol. I love Bristol. Bristol's a great place.
Bristol was okay. It was a pretty decent race, besides the 15,000 mechanical issues that happened. Tires blowing on the Fords and power steering issues on the Toyotas, all seemingly at the same time, really took some of these playoff drivers out of it.
Unpopular opinion, I think it made it better. The whole point of these races and the way NASCAR started was man and machine making it.
Sure, it's probably one of the biggest stress tests on this car.
And it's all the Fords. You talk about the flames, cars burned to the ground. It was the Fords.
It wasn't only Fords. It was Toyotas
for the tires. I'm saying.
Yeah. So
specifically, you can control the tires, power steering pump or whatever broke.
There was other cars that had tires. There were some Chevys that had tires go down too, but it wasn't like the Fords. I don't blame NASCAR on it. I think it's just that was the most intense test on this car that they've had all year. It usually always is, even no matter what car they have, because of the banking and everything, and it being concrete and just the sheer speed that you're going on a half a mile for 500 laps. But a lot of these problems happened pretty early, and that was the surprising part. Kyle Busch blew up. Truex out with Truex, Ty Gibbs, and Bubba Wallace all lost power steering
within 5 laps of each other.
Yeah, and a lot of drivers, Chase Briscoe and Alex Bowman, I think both of them, they lost power steering in the beginning of the race, but it didn't cause them to blow up. They were able to just power through it. That's an issue that NASCAR's got to look at. I mean, obviously we know there's going to be issues with the car, but it's just very strange that this is the first time we're really seeing it all year, and it happens at Bristol at a cutoff race. So that really muddied things up. It took Kyle Busch out of it. It took Truex out of the race. Who else?
I mean,
there was quite a few.
The tire issues really, like Ryan Blaney, I think was one of the fastest cars early. His tire issue got him to the fence, and he broke the toe link or bent almost all of the rear end up. That was probably a race-winning car. A guy that needs it for some momentum or something. Cindric ran his race 7 laps down. A lot of big, like Keselowski lost the race because of losing a tire, and that would have been big. I mean, Chris Busch winning still is big for Keselowski and RFK, I think, of course. But there were some notable guys that had those issues that really said. I think Brian Blaney is one that sticks out to me, just because he was so fast early, and then had that issue, and it's just dang, what could have been for him.
The accident also for Austin Dillon took him out. Joey Logano had a suspension issue. Ty Dillon had a steering issue. Kyle Busch's engine.
Suarez took out Reddick.
Yeah, Suarez took out Reddick. He just spun in the middle of the stretch, which was weird. But yeah, Chris Buescher taking the win. Chase Elliott rebounding pretty nicely, getting a second place. There was some surprising, like you said, Brad Keselowski was up there. He was having a really great night for RFK.
They dominated the race. Like if you look at total picture, and I think strategy got them up there to begin with, but between Buescher and Keselowski, they were dominant cars for most of the race. Like
Harrison Burton also had a lot of issues. He had tires go down twice, and then he spun twice and had 2 tires go down. It was a pretty crazy race, and it was a lot of chaos. It was very exciting to watch. You just didn't get to see a ton of great racing. Do you agree or disagree?
I enjoyed the racing. I mean, I think I enjoyed it because I don't think we got to see the full Bristol effect because of the way things went, but it's hard to pass. You had guys able to catch and run hard. You didn't see door-to-door wheel banging stuff, no, but everyone was talking about how great Old Bristol was. Old Bristol, you wouldn't see either. It'd be a choo-choo train, single file around the bottom for most of the race.
And the 2-lane thing is just, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier today, really just think the 2-lane thing, they try to make the bottom come in now that it's more top dominant than bottom. It's just, it just helps add another lane to pass lap cars.
And I think if you look at it in the race, Chase Elliott was wrapping that bottom like a wily veteran from the old days, and he was kind of making hay down there. I don't know that he ever would have caught and passed Buescher around the top where he was, but it was there, right? Just because they didn't get close enough to have the old bump and run and the Hansa bikes being thrown.
Sure.
That's the expectation for Bristol. There's always bump and run, 2002, Gordon moves Wallace or whatever it is. Oh, Sony's doing helmet throw. That's not going to happen every time.
No.
I think that's the perception everyone has in their head, and because NASCAR promotes that with their marketing stuff.
You had stuff being thrown. It was just back in the garage area because of everybody blown up.
And the crappy parts.
And the crappy parts.
Truex found it off. Harvick's making a shirt today that was hilarious. Did you see this? Did you see that thing?
Yeah.
Epic. I love these guys taking their own quotes and making money for themselves. That's hilarious.
Yeah, you should.
Truex echoed Harvick's claim. I think these veterans are getting tired of it. I don't know that it's fair. I think in the power steering issue thing, it's just a tire thing. I think you could blame NASCAR, but mostly Toyota's having a problem. Mostly Ford's having a certain problem. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the teams pushing the limit and then using the crappy parts as a cop out. I don't know.
I think it is. I think these both the tire issue for the Fords and the power steering mostly for the Toyotas. I mean, a lot of teams through all makes lost power steering, but Toyota was the only one to blow up because of it, and that's something that they're setting up with the car.
They're doing something
that they're doing that's making that, I guess the power steering fluid's getting too hot and it's just blowing the seal right off is what it sounded like from Truex.
That's what it sounded like for most of them. The other ones, they caught it and could refill the steering and power steering fluid and it saved it.
Bubba Wallace came down pit road. They took his right front tire off. It was so shiny because it was just covered in power steering fluid. So
I love that. They're like, oh, we're going to change tires. Like, nope. Even the broadcast, like, that's not going to solve it, but that tire is not okay.
Chris Buescher gets a big win, though. This was good to see. He didn't another kind of FU win like Bubba Wallace last week. This is a good FU win for Chris Buescher. His other win was years ago at Pocono in the fog.
222 races ago. as they
in the
point out.
fog on a Monday, when everybody just wanted to get the hell out of there.
Right. Like,
he ended up
the
just
hell out.
being the guy that was there. He's been legitimately very good for a couple of years, to be honest. This is the first year that he's finally found some consistency, running top 10, top 15 all the time, and now lately up there in the top 5. And he took the lead with about 60 to go, kind of like how like Bubba Wallace did last week. Like, he didn't just pass at the end or pitch strategy. Like, he worked his way up, passed the cars, and was gone. And just and dominated that last part of the race. So good for him.
Huge for him.
And that whole team. It's good to see Roush back in victory lane. Even though I don't know if he was even there, but it's good to see the Roush name back in there. And good for Keselowski,
Yeah. Griffey, we're gonna come back to your stuff here.
Yeah, we're gonna come back when we come to the playoff. We're not ignoring you.
I do like year 4, but I have thoughts. And Josh Aaron, I'm with you. RFK, I think we had a lot of expectations coming into the year with how well they were going to be because Keselowski was going to change everything. And they went to Daytona, and they both won their duel. Like, oh, shit, he is going to do it. And then in reality, kind of punched him in the mouth every race after that, after Daytona. So I think it's cool to see that they are finally building that. Keselowski had speed.
Yeah.
Like, Buescher's been good most of the summer, but Keselowski had speed. And probably wins that race without losing a tire, or at least it's right there at the end anyway.
For sure.
So I guess exciting for next year.
Keselowski's going to do some wild shit too. If he's there at the end, he hasn't won in so long. He's dumping somebody or he's blocking the hell out of somebody.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he probably would have.
That's the cool thing with him and Hamlin is just like at Kansas. If Hamlin got the Bubba Wallace, he was absolutely going to do something to make sure he got around him. Because
absolutely.
That's how they want to be raced.
And it's the time of year where you just need to go get a win.
And then we go to Texas, just ruin all the happiness.
Well, let's talk about 3 playoff races, 3 non-playoff drivers winning, tied for the most different drivers in NASCAR history this season. Obviously, I think a big part of that is the car. I think we all think that. It's definitely leveled the playing field. I think it also goes to show...
I bet you nobody had Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, and Chris Buescher in their bingo card to win the first 3 races.
Absolutely not.
And not at Darlington, Kansas, and Bristol. Get the hell out.
The way they were running, you thought they were going to get a win, but not like that. You know what I mean? Like, or get close at least. Pretty wild. It's this just championship race is wide open because Chase Elliott. I mean, he had a second. He got a second place finish, but he struggled the first half of the race. He struggled so far.
First race of the playoffs that he actually looked like he belonged.
He's basically struggled since Watkins Glen. Yeah, but ever since then, he's been struggling. He hasn't been there. Josh Aaron says Corey LaJoie is next. I don't know about that.
2 weeks away, right? 3 weeks.
I mean, I could see that. Corey LaJoie, he had a 15th place finish. He's running well. I think that team needs a little bit more help before they're
Josh
up there.
Aaron's just throwing darts now.
Well, blindly. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than Corey LaJoie's getting there, but he's not like up in the top 10.
Right.
You know what I mean, he's finally starting to consistently run up in the top 20, which is good. But you have guys like Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, and Chris Buescher. Those guys, since the midway of the season, they've been running up in the top 10 pretty consistently.
Right. Speed and straight up speed. And Eric Jones has been up there all year.
Yeah.
In and out, like just not consistent enough.
Chris Buescher almost won Sonoma. I mean,
Right.
He finished second at Sonoma.
Right.
So
they had speed at times, but races weren't consistent. So these guys have shown throughout the year that they probably should have won a race or could have won a race if things would have went their way. And it now finally did. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. I think, piggyback what we just said, though, the amount of playoff drivers having problems in the first 3 races. I think that's the team's pushing the limit. It's playoff time. You got to go.
I agree.
And they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like that. We went to touch with Reddick, Harvick, Busch, all kind of. I mean, Reddick kind of got screwed at Bristol a little bit, but in that crash with Suarez. But overall, they've kind of shot themselves in the foot. At least in my opinion. Part failures, but it's kind of convenient that it's just only happening to mostly playoff drivers.
They're definitely pushing it too hard, as they should be. They need to be pushing it to the edge, the limits of what they can without getting penalized.
Right.
And there's not much you can do. I mean, it really puts it into the hands of the teams for pit strategy, and also puts it into the hands of the drivers to run good races. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of parity right now, because sometimes This year, you haven't had a driver that was just good every single week. Every driver has had their issues.
Either be pit crew, pit road, mechanical,
But I'm
wrecking,
saying even just the driver mistakes.
Ross
Drivers are making
Chastain.
mistakes. Yeah, getting chastained is a factor. It's almost like did it
Didn't
rain,
happen this week,
snow?
though.
Did it rain, snow, or did you get chastained? It's one of those three things.
He had a quiet Bristol, though. Good for him.
Surprisingly, and he ran up in the top 10. He's sneaking
He's had a
back
quiet
up.
few weeks.
He's been sneaking back up into the championship conversation. I think.
He's being a little
But
sneaky
he was.
on there
He
at the
was.
Watermelon Farm.
There was points during the. there was points during the Bristol race though where he was almost out of the points. He was almost out of the championship hunt or over like right around the cut
Right.
line. But so was Chase Elliott at one point, which is nuts. Now he goes back up to the top. Let's take a look at the points real quick here. This is the reset going into Texas next week,
Right.
and it puts Chase Elliott back up on top. And you have Joey Logano and Ross Chastain back up there in third. Kyle Larson's now that fourth driver. Christopher Bell, who's been the best playoff driver for the first three races, back down in seventh. I'm not really worried about him. It's tight.
Right.
I mean,
Texas, Roval. Is that right? Texas, Roval, Talladega?
Texas, Talladega, Roval. Roval's the cutoff.
Jesus.
Yeah. So there are 34 points separating first to sixth or first to 12th, which is, I mean, shit.
It's one bad race.
It's not even like you finish outside of the top 20 one race, and you could be going from second to 12th. The way it's going. Blaney's still stuck through. Blaney's still somehow.
Blaney is points racing his ass off, and I'm here for it.
And look at where it resets him. I mean, he's gotten a lot of playoff points. He's been very good points wise. He's eighth in points. He's not even at the cutoff. Cindric, Suarez, Bowman, Briscoe are at the bottom right there. They would be the first four out right now if it started. So, but I think there's going to be a lot of chaos here that happens with these first couple races. Let's start with Texas.
Can we just skip it?
I don't think it's going to be that bad, man. I really don't. I know Texas isn't the most exciting track, but I also don't think it's as...
Did you watch the All-Star race?
Actually, no. But
well, you saved a life there.
Blaney won it.
That's true. He did.
Maybe that's where he gets his first win and he breaks the record for most different winners in a season.
That would be cool.
I think that would be good.
Texas is terrible.
Yeah, I don't even know where to go. Otherwise,
I think Fords. I mean, it's gonna be. We'll know Friday who's kind of the favorite. I think you'll be typical guys. I think this is one of those. I think you're gonna start seeing a momentum switch. It won't be fluky. Guys haven't won this year, other than maybe a Truex or Blaney. I don't see that happening just straight up. All the guys that had speed have won. I think now, minus Truex and Blaney.
Yeah.
And there's no one else that has consistent speed that hasn't won.
Harvick.
Right. It's time for repeat winners. Yeah. Maybe not. You might get a non-playoff guy because of Busch, Harvick, Reddick. I mean, Busch won't win because obvious reasons. We're going to get into in a minute. Reddick, same way. This is one of those things. Outside of strategy play, we're not going to get a new winner unless it's Blaney or Truex. I think it's just time when the champions start cream rise to the top. This is that time of year.
Yeah, I agree. I think that cream, or people rising out of that cream, is Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. I think because those are my championship four. I think those are the four guys probably to watch. I mean, outside of a guy like maybe Blaney, who was good there, at the All-Star race, and he's been good. He's been really good at the mile and a half this year.
Byron, I think, is another not championship favorite, but for this week, him and Bowman have both been good the last month. Yeah, which is better than we can say for their whole summer. I take Byron over Bowman every day, including Sunday.
I agree.
So if anyone's going to sneak up and interrupt this, that's not one of the guys you mentioned. I think Byron's that next guy, and beyond that, it's going to take help.
Ross, maybe. Ross has been decent.
He's been fast, yeah. Suarez, at times, been consistent.
Yeah, I see Suarez getting eliminated here.
I
I don't see him being a factor at Texas.
No, but he could go out and win the Roval.
I could see Kevin Harvick being a factor. He's always been good at Texas. And I don't know. It depends on how he wants to bounce back. Is he like done with the season now because he's out of the playoffs, or does he want to give a nice big fuck you to NASCAR and go and win and talk about how shit these cars are? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could totally see Kevin Harvick doing something like that, and you know he's good there too. I mean, he wants to go out there and win, just like every one of these other drivers. So,
I think Logano's a good pick for this weekend. I think.
Yep.
I think Ford, Toyotas, you can't sleep on them, but Toyota's just Bell. Bell, I guess, would be. I think Bell's a sneaky one too. He's been fast, but
yeah, he's kind of the obvious one that we're leaving out here.
So
he's been the best playoff driver so far.
We just named 8 of 12. One of those 8 of 12 is going to win this race. Bell, Byron, all the big hitters that are left in the playoffs are going to win it. Outside of if it was a straight up speed race. Is this a day race? It better be a day race.
It's late. It's 3:30.
Our time?
So, yeah, 3:30 our time, I believe.
Oh, good. It's like 1:30 their time. That's good. Perfect.
Yeah. So hopefully it slicks off a little bit. Maybe it's warmer.
It spicy. Maybe it'll impress us because it was a night race for the All-Star race, so maybe it's better.
Yeah. I'd be surprised. I would not be surprised if they put like PJ1 down or something, which would suck. But they kind of have to. They have to do something because turn 1 and 2 is god awful. Turn 1 and 2 wrecks the whole track. Josh Aaron says Briscoe is sneaky.
He is.
He is. I don't
love it right now though. He's getting there.
No.
A couple years.
Well, I see. If we're talking Texas, no. If we're talking advancing in the playoffs, yes, because I see him.
He could Dega.
He could steal Dega, or he's definitely going to be a factor at the Roval.
I'm with you, Kevin Griffey. Can't wait to listen to that later tonight to see what they have to say to defend their Toyota bullshit.
Door Bumper Clear has nothing on Turn 2 Turbo's podcast.
I mean, they copy us anyway, so it's fine.
They copy us all the time. It's ridiculous. That's why we had to go earlier today, so they had more time to digest what we say, so they can...
Disregard the fact that they recorded 18 hours ago, but it's fine. But it's fine. They copy us. They read our minds. It's weird. Probably the fireball.
So yeah, let's go. Let's take a look at. Playoffs. Kevin said his 4 drivers out are Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric. I like those 4, but I don't know if I agree on everyone. So let's take a look at this again. And
it's gonna be tricky. There's so many goofball races. Talladega.
I think Blaney gets in. I don't think Blaney misses.
But I can see. I wouldn't say that would knock Briscoe out, but I can see Briscoe, like you said, or Suarez winning, or even Cindric winning the freaking Roval. Like, I kind of think Ross Chastain is a Roval guy. I don't know. I like his 4. Minus Blaney. And Briscoe.
I would switch out Blaney for Chastain. I think Chastain struggles. I mean, you got to think about it. Texas, all right, maybe he runs up in the top 15. They've been good. They haven't shown as much speed as they did earlier in the year, but they're still good. They're still a factor. I'm just saying, when it comes to we didn't really think Chastain was a factor to win this race, do we?
Bristol?
No, Texas.
No, not Texas, but I think he's just going to lurk around the top 10.
Okay, good. Talladega.
That's Chastain won there in the spring. It's Talladega, though, so God knows.
Exactly.
God bless.
I don't think he. I think knowing him too, and I don't think he makes it out of. I don't think he makes it out of Talladega above the cut line. I think he gets wrecked. And then Roval, he did good at Coda, don't get me wrong, but shit, I don't look at him as a road course racer. Like, he's not terrible, but I don't think he's like a favorite like a Cindric or a Briscoe.
I would say Suarez, Cindric, Briscoe are the guys from that section.
Kyle Larson's very good there. Chase Elliott's very good there.
I meant guys that are in our group of getting axed here that could upset the apple cart.
Okay.
We know Chase Elliott, Logano, Hamlin. Those guys are good everywhere. Really good everywhere. But if guys down here like Bowman, Suarez, Cindric, Briscoe, 3 of those guys, I think Roval is when they have circled. If they can't win Dega, Roval, they have to be, that's their shot. And I agree with Kevin. Bowman's, he's okay on road courses. I think comparatively speaking, I think Dega's hit a shot unless he steals a win at Texas. But outside of that, I think Blaney and Briscoe, you flip them, and that's the 4 guys getting dropped. Briscoe, Blaney moves on just because he's so consistent. If they can just get the car to stop breaking.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's so hard to tell, but I mean, all things
again.
Yeah, all things being consistent, I think Chastain's out. I think Bowman's out.
Oof.
I think Briscoe's out.
Josh Aaron going for the Hendrick jugular.
And either if Cindric doesn't win the Roval, he's out. If he does win the Roval, I could see someone like Kyle Larson being knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who wins. Like I said, looking at it from what we perceive to be common sense, if that doesn't happen,
I would take Corey LaJoie over Ty Dillon at Talladega.
I think it's the same thing.
I think it's the same thing too.
If they all wreck again, which
I also give him as much of a chance as Cody Ware. So take that.
Okay, well that's too far.
Cody Ware had like a top 10 the last day.
10 cars finished.
Right. So that's what's probably gonna be.
It was raining. Whatever. That's not. I think Dega, Roval. Oof, it's gonna be. If you're one of those favorites, you want to make Texas count because you don't want to go to Dega and have to like really put your nose out there for stage points. And do you even race for stage points? Like, you kind of have to, but you're
gonna have to because the points are so tight. It depends what happens at Texas. If we have more mechanical failures, wrecks, that really shakes it up, man.
I'm here for a Texas race with part failures. I'm all about that. Let's do it.
If all things being consistent now, most of these 12 drivers are in the top 10 getting stage points. It just makes Talladega even tougher because nobody's going to really gain points unless they win. So
I mean, he's right. I mean, Chevy is going to all be together, but I don't think the 42 car is the one they're going to shove in that situation.
I don't like Chevys at Dega. I think it's going to be Ford versus Toyota.
There's a hell of a lot more Chevys though.
I get it, but they had. I mean, look at Larson blew up the last 2 plate races.
I think it's because he doesn't like them. That's what I would do too.
Just blown up, just
cold trickle that bitch. You know what?
Red line the bitch.
Hey, get out of that race car. No sense. I mean, I don't hate it. If it's not into a 500, why even bother? Get the hell out.
Well, now you have to because of.
Yeah, now he has to.
Yeah, Josh is right. No one can run in the back of Dega if they're getting points up front.
I think you see Denny Hamlin riding in the back of Dega because a win. Someone like him, he's up like 5th in points. He doesn't need all the stage points at Dega. Sure, it'll be nice, but at what cost? If he's up running for 10th in the stage and they wreck on stage 1, you're screwed. You're better off being there until it gets hairy and then bailing.
I think
until it's too hairy for you.
Yeah. And see, we're already looking at Dega and we're already looking at Roval. We're already overlooking Texas. But I think that adds to Texas. I think it's gonna make Texas.
Yeah,
Texas is like the only.
All you can get.
They're gonna be out there trying to get everything. It's gonna make it more intense.
You need to go out and get points at all cost.
Yes.
Because you don't want to have to go to Dega needing points.
No.
You need to go there chasing wins. Basically, is the only reason that I would want to go do it. And Roval. You've narrowed the field down to probably 12 cars that have a legitimate shot, even though it turned into calamity also. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, who would have thought Texas?
We'll see. I think it'll still be interesting. I think Texas might be a better race than Bristol.
Get the hell out
I'm
of here.
hopeful.
You are on drugs.
I'm hopeful. I said it's possible.
Drugs.
No, it's possible.
Stay off the weed.
Get off the weed. Well, somebody who's not racing for points no more, Kyle Busch.
And
knocked out of the playoffs, blew the motor, didn't want to talk to anybody. He did want to talk to people in the beginning of the week. He said a lot of things with his voice and with his fingers.
At least my buddy Jay got my back.
I know it's Texas, but
Josh, you go across the pond. Queen dies, and he's lost his fucking mind.
it might be a better race racing wise. It might be better than Bristol, just because of the added. You got to go get it because it's the only like.
Wishful thinking. What time's that race? Make sure I'm not home to watch it.
We already asked this like 3 times.
Yeah, can I make sure I'm not home to watch it? I'm gonna listen to it on the radio, so it sounds interesting. Anyway, Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch goes to RCR. We kind of saw it coming a little bit. We didn't really know what was going on. We knew he wasn't going to go back with Toyota. But it was kind of like, oh, is he going to go to Stuart Haas? And all this silly season stuff finally comes to an end. He announces he's going to the 8, and an hour before the press conference, Richard Childress informs Tyler Reddick that he's no longer in the 8 car next year, but they will still run a 3rd car for him. And Kyle Busch came out with his 2 championship rings on his middle fingers.
Because why would Rowdy not do that?
Yeah,
but I'm here for it.
It's cool.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, me and you.
As a PR, I don't want to deal with him.
Me and you both have some differing opinions, I think, on how this is going to go next year. A lot of people are hopeful. A lot of people think this is going to pull Richard Childress out of the muck. I don't. I think they do about much of the same. I think Tyler Reddick, still with those 3 cars, and you put Tyler Reddick in a 3rd brand new car. I still think Tyler Reddick. Where else is he going to go?
He's not going in a 3rd RCR car. Stop it.
Where else is he going to go?
Toyota. He's going to go to Toyota. He's going to 2311. There's no way
they already
RCR.
Said
RCR is not paying X amount of dollars for a charter and to start a team.
They could lease a charter for one. They were already looking at doing a 3rd car already with the Orion Austin Hill in a 3rd car to see if they can do it. I'm sure that was a factor into signing Kyle Busch, knowing that this was a problem. 2311 already says they don't want to add a 3rd car. And if Kurt Busch does retire, they're going to put next year. They don't want to add a 3rd car. And if Kurt Busch does retire, they're going John Hunter Nemechek. So they're not going to. It's what right now is Richard Childress trying to get him to buy him out of his contract. I don't think they will. And if Richard Childress is smart, they would keep him on the team for another year, even in a 3rd car, because Tyler Reddick still gives that team most weeks the best chance to win, even over Kyle Busch. I know I'm crazy.
Egos here are so massive right now, and it all goes back to how Reddick did it. I'm not against how Reddick did it, but it starts with how he went about announcing he's going to 2311. And I guess even then it starts with how RCR wouldn't give him an extension. They gave him an option. Whatever. So this has spiraled in such a childish ego thing that led to Kyle Busch, who also has very ill feelings towards Toyota and Gibbs. But maybe not as obvious, but they don't like each other at this point. They are not on a respected level. Toyota and Gibbs, RCR and Reddick. I don't know. If I'm Reddick, I don't know that I want to be there next year. That's going to be... They just gave his whole team away. His whole team. Yeah. He's going to be the R&D car. He'll be the 84 Hendrick car that Kyle Busch came into the series in. Like, he will literally get his car blown up more than Kyle Busch has last month.
So here's the thing. Here's a thought. We all assume Ty Gibbs is going in that 18 car. They haven't announced shit yet. Do you think Tyler Reddick could go to that 18 for a year?
I saw that float around. I
mean, I think if RCR is smart, they keep Tyler Reddick for another year. They make amends. Let's have one more go at it.
That's not gonna happen.
Maybe it's not. But I'm saying if Richard Childress is smart, I don't think Richard Childress is smart anymore. But
I mean, that's a fucking hot take.
I mean, you keep Austin Dillon in the car this long in that 3 car. Shit.
Who has the same average finish as Tyler Reddick? We covered this already. So, anyway, not the point.
Tyler Reddick has 2 wins this year.
Okay.
He gives them the best shot to win. That's more than
Kyle
they
Busch
had in the past
year?
5 years. Yeah, I still think he gives them the best shot.
Digress. third car RCR, Reddick in whatever shit they're gonna put him in. Kyle Busch at the 8 with that team. I get why RCR says they did it because, flagship team. Like, come on, it's egos. You're taking a shot at Reddick, getting back to him. Look at the intro songs at Bristol. Was it Reddick that came out with "Sabotage" as his intro song? I'm sure that means something. These people.
What are they sabotaging?
I
agree. I do think it's going downhill fast.
This is a very weird, awkward situation. And the 2311, they don't want a third team, sure. But right there, if KBM is going to Chevy, which obviously they have to, or they die, all those sponsors, they could crowdfund it with Toyota associate sponsors for a year. And put Reddick there? I mean, if I'm 2311, I want Reddick in the building as soon as possible for the same reason you're saying RCR should keep him.
So something that I think is interesting that Kevin said before, and it was announced earlier this week, is that Petty GMS is taking JGR pit crews next year.
Right.
And that's not in-house, man. Like, what's going on there?
Well,
you know what I mean?
It sounds like they're staying Chevy, for one. I did read that from Kelly Crandall. Said there's no talks of them switching to Toyota.
Sure.
But apparently, I guess JGR has been pitting like the Daughtry racing cars the last couple of years. So I guess there's more.
I think they train them.
Read into.
They have all the resources to train all these guys. They have the facilities. They have the coaches.
So they have like a side business there.
That. Yeah, it's like a side business.
And I think when it first came out, I had the first thought of like, oh, Petty GMS to Toyota.
No.
Why not? But no.
But I do. I mean,
gotta do something. There's a lot of Chevy teams out there. We talked about this to your original point.
They have more Ford teams too.
Right. Go to Toyota. You'd be the third Toyota team versus the 8th or 6th, whatever Chevy team there is. You have Hendrick, RCR, Trackhouse. To name the top 3, Colleague.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone runs a Chevy. If
maybe
you could get out,
Reddick goes to Colleague next year.
That's
really the only.
That's a better option than saying RCR.
Rick Ware is definitely getting rid of his charter, probably this offseason. One of that number 15 charter. If not, he's going to lose it the year after.
Right.
So go the charter, whether he leases it or sells it, it's a hot commodity. He's going to make 5 times the amount that he paid for it if he sells it. So it just depends. It's going to turn into a bidding war, and who wants it more? Does RCR really want to buy that third charter? Probably not.
It kind of depends on
2311 want to buy that third charter? Probably not either.
Right. It kind of depends on, I guess, the language of Tyler Reddick's contract. Like if it does this, obviously I guess it says a charter team. That's why they made sure to say it was going to be a charter team. I don't know. That's above my abilities to read and understand because we don't know his contract. But if it is a chartered team at RCR, then that obviously means he's locked into making that charter happen or letting him go and buying him out. And I don't know the language to it. At least him to Colleague for a year or Go Fast Motorsports, or not Go Fast, but Live Fast. I don't know. I just don't see it going well if they all stay there next year.
I think if they can make it to next year, it's going to be fine.
They barely made it to this weekend.
I know. I'm saying if
now they're all eliminated. So
if they can make it to next year, though, they're going to be fine. And I still think in this car, Tyler Reddick gives them the best shot. It's just me. It's not by much. It's by a hair because Kyle Busch is still really great. But I think Tyler Reddick has shown this year he's going to be a top 5 driver here in this series for a while to come. He's got the talent, and he's going to be in the equipment.
Right.
So,
I mean, yeah. Reddick, long-term wise, this isn't going to affect him at all, right? It's going to be like kind of like when Kurt Busch went to Furniture Row, and they had a year just to go simmer, run okay, maybe win, who knows? But if he could get out of this and go to 2311 or any Toyota team next year, that's only going to help Toyota and Tyler Reddick be faster when he gets to 2311. If I'm Reddick, I want out. More than I already did.
Sure he does, but you got to find somebody who's going to buy him out. You know what I mean? And this is a lot
of money in Toyota.
This is really, I feel like this whole move is Richard Childress's
an FU, right?
A fuck you to Tyler Reddick.
Right, 100%.
Saying, and it's.
I don't know if it works out or not.
Kevin Griffey just said it right there. I was kind of going to get into it. RCR has a lot of financial debt. I wasn't going to get exactly into this, but RCR has not been the flagship that they were. This feels like a desperation move for RCR. This is like a move for them.
It was the only move for them to make in a situation.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a desperation move that they need to make, and I don't think it's going to work out the way they think.
Sharon's going to tear you apart.
RCR just invested a lot in the Busch. They won't invest into another charter. I agree. That's why I say maybe they lease. They were halfway out the door before the new car. I agree. I mean, this was a Hail Mary that they had to do. Maybe they sell to Junior Motorsports, like, Junior Motors, like Kevin said here, trying to come in. Colleague might be wanting another one. So if there is another
player here.
Yes.
I
thought
I'm more disappointed that the colleague people didn't get Kyle Busch because
me too.
This was a very colleague thing to do.
Yes.
Like,
because I feel like Kyle Busch is better for it, kind of like what Kurt Busch is better for a smaller upcoming team rather than an established team that's going on the way out. The only way I see this really working out, and because I mean we're seeing it because last
Neil, you're wrong. RCR does have to have a chartered thing that's in his contract. That part I do know.
Yeah.
Reddick is guaranteed a chartered ride with RCR,
and it could be leased. He doesn't have to buy one. So, but I mean, also, if he's willing to put the money up right now, and he goes and buys a charter, and then the year after he could decide, do I want to bring Austin Hill up? Do I want to
right? And that's the only way.
Do I want to go
make sense?
Right, or you could go flip it probably for more money than you paid for it. If you want, you could have someone like Junior Motorsports trying to come in, or Colleague wanting a third one. You have that charter now.
Like we know Colleague wants a third one. We know 2011 wants a third one at some point, eventually. Right? When the price is right. Yeah. We know Junior then went in. But that TV deal is still being negotiated or just starting negotiations. That's a big player in this. Who knows? But this is a very RCR did what I thought Matt Colleague and Chris Rice would do by getting Kyle Busch to come over there. Because it would change, like you said, it's going to change. It would change Colleague's whole foundation. Yeah. What Allmendinger did for them on the Xfinity side, Kyle Busch would do for them on the Cup side.
And go ahead.
No, that was it.
Yeah, because I feel like it's the opposite. Kyle Busch is going to go in there. He's not bringing any sponsorship.
No,
he's going to want more money to go run his truck stuff. On top of paying him to drive their car.
Sounds like Chevy would have to take that bill, just like Toyota did at trucks.
Yeah.
Which is slowly trickling out. Like, I don't know how true it is.
Yeah. But regardless, I mean, you're going to have to deal with it, whether you want to believe it or not. He's going to a much lesser team than Gibbs.
No, yeah, for sure. 100%.
So we know how frustrated Kyle Busch is when he's not running well. And how south that could go. It ruined, like, when he wasn't running well, I think it was a big, like, they had to split up. He had to get him a new crew chief and all that. They were, it wasn't good. It just snowballed their season. That's the type of effect Kyle Busch can have on a team. And I worry about that for RCR because RCR, I don't think they had the foundation to be able to handle that.
But I think, so 2 notes. Note 1, when you're leaving Joe Gibbs Racing, the only way to have an equal transition is go to Hendrick or Penske. Otherwise, it's not the same. Mm-hmm. It's lower. It's just a matter of how much lower. The other thing, like I know DBC talked about it, and guys, or maybe Dale Jr., one of them, was how RCR handles their business over there. Those fuckers are different. Like the workshop guys, they'll beat your ass. So I don't think Kyle Busch wants to go in there and do that. I think he'll get his ass beat. So I don't know. But you're right. He could. It could be a lot of friction there in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I mean, if it goes well, yeah, they'll make RCR better. But I don't. 37-year-old Kyle Busch on the south side of his prime, still great driver, still top 10 driver in the Cup Series. I just in a new car. It's a lot of the changing of the guard, and I think this is a little too late for RCR. Is my point. I don't think it's going to go poorly.
Now we say that. My only counter argument, and I'm not saying you're wrong. RFK, it was too late for RFK, or Roush, when Keselowski went there. And Keselowski probably just ended any hopes of him ever winning a championship again by going there. RCR is not as bad as RFK. And if Kyle Busch can go there and give them something to
Sure.
build on,
I
then I
agree.
think, to your point, they're not like RFK cars for the longest time. Like, come on. And when they did show up, was random. Like, oh, hey, Ricky Stenhouse, I'm glad you won Talladega for some reason.
Right.
Like, but now it's like it's not like that so much. So, and I don't think it's all Brad Keselowski. I think some of it's a new car too. But just what Keselowski brought to the table from what he learned at Penske and these other places, I think Kyle Busch could do some of the same if they're receptive to it and if he handles himself properly. A lot of ifs there.
A lot of people are expecting Kyle Busch to still compete for a championship. I don't think this move enables him to.
I don't think next year, no.
I mean, maybe down the line. Maybe.
I mean, Reddick was this close. We were talking about him. Obviously, now it's over. But, like, going down the stretch, I think Reddick was right there. And I think if Reddick is committed to next year, I think Reddick is still there.
Sure.
Now, then again, you had the tire issue at Kansas that took him out. And then getting wrecked at Bristol. That's out of your control.
Reddick has consistently run better than Kyle Busch all year.
Right. I think
in
Kyle
a lesser
Busch,
car.
Right. So if Kyle Busch can mimic that, I think you put Kyle Busch in the Elite 8, or whatever it is, next year in the 8 car, I think that changes it. He has to get there first. But I would take him over most guys, to be honest.
Josh says JGR is as good as they are because Kyle demanded good cars. Sure, but that was back 10 years ago when he was a legitimate championship contender. He has not been the same the past 3 years. He's still very good, but he's definitely, the cars haven't changed. His teammates are winning, so I don't get it. So I just see it. It can go really, really good, or it could go really, really bad. And I see it. I lean more to it going not so great. I don't think it's going to be a complete disaster, but it has the potential to be.
I think he needs to taper his expectations, for one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, even once we get to Daytona, that car, there's a very fair chance that car goes to the pole at Daytona 500. Sure. But, whatever.
I think he could have a very much similar role as Keselowski. Maybe he does make that team better, sure. But we're not talking about we're like Keselowski. He was a championship contender a couple of years ago. We're going, holy crap! Look at him leading laps at Bristol. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think you could see the same thing happen with Kyle Busch. Holy shit! Look at he's leading a race. We're going to be saying that.
Not anymore. Only because of how Reddick and RCR was this year. If this would be last year, yes, absolutely. Because we were always like even this year when Reddick was like, holy shit, Reddick's on the pole. Like, holy shit, Reddick's gonna win this race. Well, like when he got wrecked in the Bristol dirt race by Briscoe, it's like, oh, I mean, that's probably his chance. You didn't realize like how good that team kind of was simmering. So I mean, I get what you're saying. I just don't think it's all doom and gloom.
I don't think it's doom and gloom either. I'm just saying, I don't like people are saying, oh, this puts RCR back up in the championship contention. I don't think it does yet. I don't think it does. I think they'll win maybe a couple more races. There'll be playoffs. They'll be that B tier team still. I don't think they ever, unless Hendrick falls off, I don't see them being you have Trackhouse there talking Chevy here. I don't know. Problem Kyle will have at RCR is Austin Dillon. Even on Kyle worst days, he's better than Austin on his best days. I agree. I don't think Austin. I've been known to shit on Austin Dillon, I guess, but I don't think he's as bad. I mean, I just think he's an average driver. Average isn't bad. Average, and he's consistently average. So like, it gives him a shot. It gives him a shot when things go crazy.
Average isn't bad. Average isn't good. It is 100% average.
Average, yes.
And it pays the bills. And Austin Dillon pays the bills at RCR. So,
but Kyle, and like I said, Kyle Busch is used to being a championship contender. He's not going to be okay with being average or even borderline top 10. And sure, maybe it'll demand more out of RCR, or maybe they don't have the foundation like JGR had.
Maybe it takes a Kevin Harvick turn where they're throwing wrenches and shit each other.
Yes, exactly. And I could see that happening. So I wish it the best. I hope it all of it's very good for the Cup Series. It's all very good. It brings another team into the mix. And the charter thing is really what's going to happen with Tyler Reddick thing now is really the thing, and I'm really surprised
comes
they
down to
haven't.
Kurt Busch, comes down to the charters.
And Ty
I
Gibbs here
think,
because they still haven't announced that yet, and
and
maybe I think that's JGR also.
I think they're
Toyota
playing hardball back.
Yep.
And I think the John Hunter Nemechek news is the same shit playing back to RCR. Like, oh, we can put John Hunter over here. Like, fuck you are. You have 2 Xfinity cars empty now because Brandon Jones, we announced last week, going to Junior Motorsports 99. Toyota's got a bigger problem here. They don't have any feeder system to their Cup cars. And they have 2 old Cup drivers that have 1 to 4 years left, tops.
All right, JA. So, makes a good point. I took everybody over Dylan over earlier this year. Sure. Let's talk about what we have 18, or is this 19 now? Different winners this year. Austin Dillon's one of them. And then we have 2 big superstar drivers who are not in there. So there's 21 drivers right there. That's more than half the field. Who are you putting Austin Dillon over top of those other drivers, over those other 20 drivers?
Well, based on your playoff stuff, he's over top of 5 of them.
Who?
The 5 that didn't make the playoffs.
No. No, I don't. I don't put him ahead of him.
That's right. Playoffs are
I think Eric Jones is better. Bubba Wallace is better. Chris Busch is better. Come on.
I don't know who you're arguing with, me or Josh. I don't know whose side Josh is on right now.
So, I mean,
I don't even know what's happening right now.
He's 17th to number 20th. Good.
Yeah,
He's
100% average.
That's what I've said the entire time. How am I crazy? How is that out of bounds? I don't get it. I mean, he's in the bottom half of when you talking pure talent drivers, he's definitely in he's at the top of the bottom half. I mean, I know Josh Aaron over here would take Corey LaJoie over Austin Dillon in a heartbeat. I think that's crazy.
I'm not even sure what's going on right now. I don't know. Josh is just stirring the pot up from England or Scotland. Oh, you're back? Are you back next week?
Oh, is he back? I'm not even here next week.
Please be back.
Please be back, so I can do this to you.
No.
I want to do this to you guys. Get in the chat, talk shit.
You did that the last week.
Yeah. But Josh Aaron wasn't here.
Anyway. No.
The last 2 seasons, Kyle hasn't been in the championship better after winning it in 2019. That's what I'm saying.
Josh and I are going to have a Jimmy-less party next week to see Eagles fan. But no, Kyle Busch hasn't been there, and I think there's a lot of mental errors on his end, a lot of misfortune, and the same with these playoffs. Like, 2 blown engines. That's crazy. I don't know if he missed a shift. I don't know. We'll never know. I guess not until he goes on the download in like 10 years and gives us a tell-all.
Maybe Tyler Reddick played sabotage because he knew that JGR sabotaged Kyle Busch's car.
Maybe. And maybe he feels sabotaged. Let's just get the tinfoil hats now, boys. Anyway, can we just go to drink it and dump it? Drink
it and dump it, baby.
NASCAR version.
Drink it and dump it. Put them in the chat. Drink it, dump it. Chris, you go first.
I'm drinking for RFK as a whole. How Kozlowski ran. Busch getting the win. Big. I am in Charlotte, by the way, Kevin Griffey, during your Halloween party. Grandma Griffey and I talked about that Friday night. I will be in Charlotte at a wedding. Drinking up RFK. RFK, I mean, it's big for them. Playoff building for next year. I mean, that's huge. I don't know how you don't look at that. Dump it.
So many.
I want to look at this RCR Kyle Busch Reddick thing. This is just a mess of dump. Like, I don't see it going well for anyone involved, to be honest. Not if it stays in the situation that we currently think it is staying in, as they announce it publicly. You go.
I'm going to start with my dump it, and it's going to go to Kevin Harvick. I felt gutted for him. He was running so well. I really thought we were arguing over if he should have stayed out for playoff points instead of
I will take the points
instead of trying to go for the win, seemingly. until he had issues. RFK has 2 drivers on Chase next year. I don't think
I
so.
just kind of agreed with you, but it's fine.
I don't think Brad K gets there. I think Busch is by far the better driver right now. Right now. I'm not talking Hooper. I'm talking
I was
right
waiting for the preface. Continue on.
Jimmy ranking of Dylan. What's my ranking of Dylan? Are you putting Dylan up in the top? Dump it again for Josh Aaron. What do you mean? Are you putting Dylan up in the top like 10 or what? Like, I don't get it.
So you're dumping it for who? Harvick.
Okay. Dumping for Harvick. I'm going to drink it to. I don't know. I get
Noah.
You know what?
Second, Noah? Gregson?
You know who I'm going to drink it to? Ryan Blaney for making it by points racing. Because Chris says that there's no points racing anymore.
You always throw the bait out when we're at 2 hours and Eagles game is starting. You, Jimmy Barr.
Cheers to Ryan Blaney. And dump it out. Josh Aaron says RCR getting KB is his drink it, dump it is to my ranking of Dylan. Anybody else got some drink it and dump it's before we sign on off here? Put him in the chat right now.
Attack Jimmy now. He'll be in Napa Valley. That's true. He'll be in Napa Valley next week, drinking wine like a high class.
I will be pinky up, drinking some nice wine.
Not the rat bag. Not the rat bag life.
Yeah, I am too degen. I am too rat bag for the places that we are going. No, we did not see that video.
No, we're still here.
We're still here.
Shit.
Yeah.
I agree. Noah will be big for GMS Petty. I do agree to that.
Hold up. We have the technology to look at.
Is this the whole crowd throwing chalk made of like snow?
Let's do this. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, fancy. The better question is when are we going to get Travis and Wes on this thing?
All right, can you see?
Oh yeah, it must be the one I saw on Facebook earlier. I didn't know we had it.
Why won't it play?
This terrible quality. Yeah, I saw this on Facebook earlier. Dude, this is nuts. Dude, it was
holy
nuts. It was
shit!
like a snowstorm. Like, I saw it on Facebook earlier. I didn't realize he sent it to us. I was just like going through Facebook and I'm like, holy shit! It's like a damn snowstorm. And drinking up for the Eagles not covering the spread and getting smoked by Minnesota because I like to piss Jimmy off.
What are you talking about? I couldn't hear you over the.
Oh, it's in the chat. I'm drinking it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that video was nuts though. I saw it earlier. I didn't realize that was the one you sent. That was awesome. It keeps getting bigger. Know that time we were there, it was like kind of big.
Yeah, it was.
Now it's like straight blizzard conditions at turn 4 at Lincoln. Pretty awesome. You need him and Wes on this show at some point.
I gotta find a spot for these.
Unacceptable. You have a window of stickers. The Eagles are gonna lose by 40.
They're not gonna lose by 40. You guys need to calm the fuck down.
Miles Sanders needs to score like 4 touchdowns though. Chalk.
What? It's Chalk. It was Chalk. It's the Chalk guy.
Travis. Chalk guy. Lincoln.
Yeah. Thanks, J.A. We'll be glad to have you back next week, hopefully, and have a safe trip back home. And thank everybody for hanging out with us here for the past 2 hours. It's much appreciated. Makes it so much fun when we have some interaction from you guys. So I know we started a little bit early. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. That's why.
6 minutes, bud.
Yeah, that's fine. I can miss kickoff. It's okay. Game time, baby.
There's all of the east of Pennsylvania here in a minute.
So thank you all. See you guys next week.
See you then.